Hi, everyone. My name is Astrid Amnel, and this is David Orta. Thank you so much for joining the virtual celebration of Diversity 2021. Our goal is to inspire cultural appreciation and to encourage more student engagement to elevate the conversation of systemic racism. We appreciate everyone who's watching and supporting this festival. We also hope you love our lineup of very talented acts. We have songs, monologues, comedy, and many other diverse acts for you to enjoy tonight. Up first is Christine, who will be reading her own monologue titled My Name. So without further ado, here is the very talented Christine.
Hi, my name is Christine Eunji Kim, and I moved to New York City from South Korea at the age of 9. I always struggled to walk the line between Korean and American, but I came out the other end with a lot of pride in my unique identity as a Korean American woman. I hope to share a facet of that with you today. The piece that I will be performing is titled My Name. I've always hated hearing my name, my legal name, my Korean name. Everyone calls me by my English name, Christine, but you wouldn't know that based on what teachers say first day of class. I've heard all permutations of my name and none of them the correct pronunciation. Even now, my coworkers have trouble emailing me because they forget to search for my other name, my second name. Every so often, somebody comes along and asks me, how do you pronounce it? Am I saying it right? And I know they have the best intentions at heart, but sometimes I just want to yell at them, stop! You are not saying it correctly, and each repetition chips away at my identity until there is nothing left. I do not want to hear my name. When I called a cable company to cancel my service for the 1,000th time, I don't pronounce my name correctly. I pronounce my own name incorrectly on purpose. And after years and years of butchering my name, not only did I start to hate it, but now I can hardly bring myself to pronounce it. When my mother chose my name, she hoped its meaning of grace and wisdom would shape the person that I would become. She weathered her worst fears and doubts to surround her first child with only love, hope, and all good things this world can provide. She abandoned her home and ruined her health to bring me here, to America, and I can't even bother to correctly pronounce the only thing that connects me to her dreams, to my childhood, to my heritage, my name. Well, I won't do that anymore. Last year, I swore an oath to become a citizen of the United States of America. My mom begged me to change my legal name to Christine. She has heard me butcher my name again and again for the last 15 years we've been here. She just wants me to fit in. But America shouldn't demand that I transform into somebody that I am not. I'm always changing, of course, but on my own terms, and certainly not to conform to anyone else's idea of who I should be. I refuse to abandon the name that my mother gave me. I refuse to abandon my history. Now, when I call a cable company, I tell them my name with pride. Yes, I will spell it out for you, but I will not mispronounce it. Because it's not my other name or my second name. It's my first name. Thank you so much for listening to my performance tonight, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening. Thank you.
Wow, what a beautiful performance, Christine. Very touching. Next up, we have Eddie, who will be performing stand-up comedy, a song from The Prince of Egypt, and a monologue from Neil Simon's play, Biloxi Blues. We can't wait for this act. Enjoy.
is Eddie Datz, and I am very excited to be a part of this festival. I am an actor, playwright, stand-up, and director based in sunny South Florida, Boca Raton. And I am a proud Jewish person. I am not very religious, but I do care very much about the Jewish culture. And one of the things I love most about the Jewish culture is Jewish art and entertainment. And so today I'm going to be doing some stand-up comedy for you. I will be talking about what it is like growing up with a Jewish mother. And then I will be singing a song from one of my favorite movies, The Prince of Egypt. And it is the story of Moses freeing the Jews from Egypt. And finally, I'm going to perform a monologue from Neil Simon's Biloxi Blues. And it is one of my favorite monologues of all time. And Neil Simon, the thing about him, he doesn't talk about Judaism or the Torah so much, but his plays are a great example of a very culturally Jewish piece of art. Enjoy! Growing up, I'm pretty sure my mother brainwashed me into becoming an actor, because when I was a baby, she wouldn't sing normal lullabies to me. She would sing songs from Broadway musicals. So before I could even speak, I knew all the lyrics to West Side Story. My first word wasn't mommy or daddy, it was Maria. And I love my mother. My mother is my best friend. She is my role model. She is my rock. And I want you to keep that in mind for this next segment. Because I don't know much about the Jewish religion. But if there's anything I know about the Jewish culture, it's that the Jewish mother is the most powerful force of nature in the universe. And the Jewish mother derives all of her power from guilt. You know that expression, they jump in front of a train for you? A Jewish mother would jump in front of a train for you, but she'd make you feel bad about it the whole time. So if you were literally tied up on the tracks and you see the train that's coming, she'd be like, you couldn't get tied up next to the tracks, you had to get tied up on the tracks. And when's the last time you've eaten? You're so skinny. And while I have you, you should really call your grandmother. And I'm just like, Mom, the train, please. And so that's why whenever I'm on a date with a girl, once every few years, my mom, she doesn't even need to ask me if the girl is Jewish because she speaks Jewish Sign Language. What is the hand, you ask? The hand is Jewish mother for, is she Jewish? And if I say yes, her response is, oh, okay, I'm looking forward to meeting her. And if I say no, all right, well, you can have some fun. You don't need to marry her. So my response will affect what happens to her wrist. And so my mom is the ultimate wingman for Jewish girls that she doesn't even know. When I'm dating someone who isn't Jewish, she couldn't care less. When she is Jewish, my mom turns into a meth addict. So, Ed, have you spoken to Rachel recently? Yeah, Mom, I talked to her a few days ago. Oh, okay, well, are you going to call her again soon? I mean, this is a special girl. You don't want to let this one go. Mom, you know literally nothing about her. No, but I've got a funny feeling about this one. Oh, I just need a fix. I just need to fix you up. And that's why I want to marry a Jewish girl solely to get my mother off my back. Because I don't want to have to do subliminal advertising with her. I don't want to have to inception her. I don't want her to be like, so Ed, tell me everything about this girl. And I'm like, yeah, Mom, I think she's the one. She's smart, she's funny, she's not Jewish. She's beautiful, she's got a great career, she's not Jewish. I don't want to have to inception her, launder her, anything. I just want her to be simple. I want her to say, hey, Ed, tell me everything about this girl. And I say, Mom, she's Jewish. That's it. Even when I'm dating someone who isn't Jewish, is Jewish, is Jewish, if she isn't Jewish enough, I still get guilt. One time, I was going to see this girl. Wasn't even a date. We were just catching up from high school. But I got cocky. So I went to my mom and I was like, hey, Mom, I'm going to see this girl and she's Jewish. My mom gave me that look like, oh, you want to play this game? So she said, what's her last name? And I said, her last name is Trout. She was like, Trout? What is she, a Jewish fish? I was like, no, Mom, she's a Jewish human girl. But I get it. My mom doesn't dislike people who aren't Jewish. She's just faced a lot of anti-Semitism in dating, and she doesn't want me to go through the same thing. One boyfriend, she wasn't allowed inside the house. That's true. Another boyfriend asked her where her horns were. And I never really understood what my mom was talking about until I was dating this girl. She was on the University of Florida club gymnastics team. And one night after one of our dates, I decided to be cute. So I texted her. I was like, good night, you adorable gymnast, you. And she responded, "Good night, you adorable Jew." Now, we had talked about how I'm Jewish and she's Catholic and how it didn't matter. So I know she wasn't trying to be anti-Semitic, but that almost makes it that much worse. And of course, the Jewish mother in me couldn't help but think, well, you couldn't make it on the actual gymnastics team. You had to be on the club gymnastics team. And you could argue that guilt is embedded in the Jewish religion itself. I was in Israel a few summers ago, and this rabbi explained this prayer to me. I don't remember the exact translation, but it's something along the lines of, "We've been waiting long enough. Messiah, please come now." Which is the most Jewish prayer I could possibly think of, because they're not saying, "Hey, Messiah, we're ready for you whenever you are." They're saying, "We've been waiting long enough. Let's go. Come on, I ordered my eggs 30 minutes ago. Let's go." So even the Messiah can't catch a break from Jewish guilt. If the Messiah ever does come down, it won't be for higher religious reasons. It'll be because he was guilted into it. It'll be to get his Jewish mother off of his back. And so, is Judaism the only source of this guilt? Oh no. Where do Jewish mothers learn the power of guilt? Jewish mothers get it from their Jewish mothers. My mom told me that when she was just a little girl, her mother, my grandma Ida, said to my mom, "Whenever you think condoms are 100% effective, look in the mirror." So she made my mom feel guilty for being born. That's where they get it from. And you know what? My future kids can look forward to the same thing, because as the Jewish prayer Lador Vador teaches us, it's passed on from generation to generation. Gleaming in the moonlight, cool and clean, and all I've ever known, all I ever wanted. Sweet perfumes of incense, graceful rooms of alabaster stone, all I ever wanted. This is my home, with my father, mother, brother, oh so noble, oh so strong. Now I am home, here among my trappings and belongings, I belong. And if anybody doubts it, they couldn't be more wrong. I am a sovereign prince of Egypt, a son of the proud history that shone, etched on every wall. Surely this is all I ever wanted, all I ever wanted, all I ever wanted. I was determined to meet the perfect girl. I knew just what she'd be like. She's going to be pretty, but not too beautiful. When they're too beautiful, they love them first and you second. And she'll be athletic. The kind of girl I could hit fly balls to and she'll catch every one of them. She'll love to go to the movies and read books and see plays. And we'll never run out of conversation. She's out there. I know it. Right now, the girl I'm going to fall in love with is living in New York or Boston or Philadelphia, just walking around the streets, not even knowing I'm alive. It's crazy. There she is, and here I am. The both of us just waiting around to meet. Why doesn't she just yell out, "Eugene, I'm here! Come and get me!" Well, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. And again, my name is Eddie Datz. And if you like what you see, you could go to eddiedatz.com, EDDIEDATZ.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your night. And enjoy the rest of the festival.
Eddie, I can't decide whether to laugh or cry. That was amazing. What a great performance. Next up is Deborah, who will be reading the poem Kwanzaa and telling us about her beautiful culture. Let's watch.
Hello, my name is Deborah Elizabeth, and just to share a little bit about myself, organization has been the key throughout my life. Growing up, entering the military, college, marriage, raising a blended family, organization for me was the key. And especially when I homeschooled and engaged in conversations with people regarding homeschooling, I let them know that organization is the key to everything. So now that I'm entering the second act of my life, I'm sharing my artistic endeavors with a brand new audience. So I hope that you enjoy what you're about to hear. And again, my name is Deborah Elizabeth, and thank you for joining us. Hi. So the first poem that I'm going to share with all of you has a significant meaning to me because it's about celebrating principles as opposed to things that I wasn't able to prove. So it's a cultural and a spiritual experience for me, and it's a poem entitled Kwanzaa. It's about a holiday that was started by Dr. Maulana Karenga. So I'm going to start the poem, and it's like I said, it just really, once I learned about Kwanzaa and the significance, it just felt more empowering, and I think it's been empowering to many, many people. So I hope that it feels empowering to you as well as you listen to my poem entitled Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is a very special holiday with an immensely creative history. Dr. Maulana Karenga began it in 1966 without any mystery. Based on Nguzo Saba, the 7 principles that bring more sense, to be celebrated throughout time without any unnecessary suspense. Unity is the meaning of umoja needed among our race. Kujichagulia means determined in creating our own positive space. Ujima is responsibly building a collection of works, while Ujamaa builds an economy with our own stores as perks. We all need Kuumba when the meaning is creativity, while faith in our Creator is the beautiful meaning of Imani. These principles are what help to make life a lot easier to handle. As we enjoy Nia, that brings the purpose and meaning of the 5th candle. The Kinara holds the colors of them all, red, black, and green, while Mishumu Saba defines what the 7 principles mean. Libations from the cup called Kikombe Cha Umoja we all drink. The mat, Mkeka, holds Mazao, the crops of Muhindi, which is corn, wrapped in our Bendera, the flag of a people reborn. Habari Gani, meaning what's the news in Swahili, is the daily greeting. And to pull it all together, 7 Harambes are said to end a week-long festive meeting. Thank you for listening. I hope that you enjoyed this poem entitled Kwanzaa, and that you will look up the information about Kwanzaa and see if you can incorporate these principles into your life. Thank you for listening, and have a great rest of your night. This poem is entitled Anyone's Child, and it's very close to my heart because it was the experience of many children who came here with parents who were immigrants. Hi, I'm Deborah Elizabeth, and I'm sharing a poem entitled Anyone's Child, and it's very close to my heart. Growing up, I was a child of immigrants, and coming to the United States back in the 60s was a very challenging time. So I knew many people across many different nations who had a similar experience. This poem is entitled Anyone's Child. Who could imagine what was going through the mind of the newcomer alone in a strange place? Is that what made her leave the newborn behind? What if my plans don't work? asking herself questions of this kind. What are my options? What is the best thing for me to do? These are the answers that she needed to find, as fear was her constant companion. What am I to do because arriving soon is baby number 2? Did she think that her oldest one would thrive without siblings of love as a secure base? I wonder if they will remember me. Do they have mine or their father's face? A mother's shoulders where decisions are made should be mourned as the place where relationships can die before they are born. Is society asking the question, what is happening to these children, dealing with the effects of being scorned by the void of strangers that have forgotten the human being attached to the end of the monthly check, whom as they grow, their thoughts only see them as rotten individuals not deserving to be heard, dreaming of a time where all of their wishes were just like some little bird that flew away with all of their many burdens, now hating the idea of any normal life, and the infamous one waits to hear a word of truth from those who decided long ago to fill their existence with the stripe of never feeling whole. Thankfully, they've heard every story as the inner child lies in the bed of tears, afraid to move as the sun rises overhead. Realizing now, the adult knows all of the pieces, that they're in charge of how the story goes from here. My name is Deborah Elizabeth, and I and my entire team, our entire festival, hope that you enjoyed yourself immensely this evening. We hope that you enjoyed the Summer Celebration Diversity Festival. We hope that you learned something that you didn't know before from a different culture, but that you mainly understand that we are all human beings striving to survive, to be loved, and to be cared about, to help others. That's what the Summer Celebration Diversity Festival is all about, and we hope that you had an amazing time with us. Thank you for being here with us, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you for listening. My name is Deborah Elizabeth. Bye-bye for now.
Wonderful job, Deborah. That was so beautiful to watch. We have such talented people sharing their cultures and talent with us tonight. Next up, we have David Elner, a stand-up comedian that will have you laughing from beginning to end. Please keep in mind that this upcoming act has frequent swearing and language meant for mature audiences. So if that isn't you, please feel free to lower the volume for the next 12 minutes. Otherwise, get ready to laugh.
Amazing people. All right, you wonder who I am? It's not Jesus. I mean, kind of his cousin, we're from the same tribe. Whatever, I'm not getting into that. So, as you can see before you, I am a fun-loving guy. So what that means is I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm standing right now. Even though it's hard, being so tall, I gotta show off my shirt. But at the same time, the producer said, make sure you wear a yarmulke and you look as Jewish as possible so that way they know when they come into the comedy show late that this isn't a hate crime. Which, we're going to be honest, that sounded like a little anti-Semitic because it's like, got to make sure I'm Jewish when I say Jewish jokes to avoid something. Is it like a lawsuit? Oh, like Jews do lawsuits? That's awful. I mean, it's kind of true. But it's all right. It's all right. I know a guy. He happens to be my cousin. Which, it hurts because even me, before comedy, was looking into law school. But instead, I did another great Jewish stereotype, disappointing my parents, and going into comedy. Even though they're like, why can't you be like Jerry Seinfeld? I'm like, I'm trying. But they're like, you don't have his bank account. I'm like, now that's a fact. But, yeah, so I'm a fun-loving guy from the lovely lanes of New York. Wow, the more I talk, everything just sounds so Jewish. New York? Well, it's crazy. But don't worry, I don't really give a crap about bagels and cream cheese and lox. I don't know who the hell eats that, because it's literally just slimy fish, which is gross. Um, yeah, maybe that's why millennials, that's why we don't go down on girls. It just reminds us of lox. Like our parents were like, "Yeah, we'll do whatever." We're like, "No, please, let's not." It's awful. It's gross. But yeah, so fun-loving guy before going into comedy. And yeah, they want me to allow you to know, what does culture mean? What does talking about culture, what does that do? Well, it helps normalize views of one another. Because, like me, when you saw me, you're like, who the hell is this guy? Like, he's got a yarmulke. He has a shirt that says Dupreme. Like, is this like a costume for him? No, I literally dress like this on the usual and confuse people. Because they're like, oh, so like, are you not religious and just doing this for fun? I'm like, no, I've never eaten ham in my life. Never will. I don't really care to because it's not healthy. I mean, you could do it for the keto diet, but like, all the fat, oh my gosh, it's going to go straight to my ass. But yeah, so that's the funny part, especially where I went to college. Like, they were like, a Jew boy. We don't see many of those around these parts. Yeah, I went to Connecticut, so it's weird. It's like half of it was like Duck Dynasty, half of it was like, my dad, yeah, he's Chadwick III. You know what that means? I can buy you. And I was like, sir, that would be great, actually, because my hourly rates are diminishing lately. So yes, please let him buy me. Okay, I am very much for money. Which again, is stereotype. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I said my cousin's name in vain. Didn't mean to do that. But yeah, no. Again, diversity, sharing culture is super important because so many people, they don't know about different people depending on where you grew up, and even just the internet. The internet says a lot of garbage. Okay, and here's just like a quick funny story. Not even that I was in, but not even like a Jewish thing, because I'm very white passing, okay, so I hate that. So sometimes I could be the person to bridge a gap, or, I just have everyone hate me, because they're like, you're not white, you're not one of us, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Wow, I'm addicted to saying his name after that one joke. But, so in this quick one story, one buddy that I met in Connecticut, freshman year, awesome guy, all like white area he grew up in. So no Jews there either. But, like I said, I still blend in kind of. So he's just like, hey, David, how do I like talk to my roommate? I was like, what do you mean? You just talk to him? He's like, but David, I don't know how to do that. He's African American. And my first response was like, how do you know he's African American? He's like, what do you mean? I looked at him. I'm like, yeah, no, he's black, but David, you can't say black. It's offensive. I'm like, no, I don't think you understand. But black is literally complexion. Like, he may not be African American. He could be Caribbean American. He could just be straight up African. He could, there's a lot of different things about it. Like, just figure that out first. Maybe the fact that you're just hiding inside calling African American is scaring him. He's like, oh, I understand. That makes sense now. And I was like, yeah, so how have you tried talking to him? He's like, well, I haven't. I think he just doesn't like me. I was like, well, you know how you're talking to me? Yeah. So talk to him like that. And you're like, oh, like, it's really that easy, people. If someone doesn't look like you or just acts a little different, you know how you become their friend? You just say, hey, how's it going? You don't have to automatically be like, guess I gotta suck his dick. That's how I become his friend. It doesn't work like that. I mean, if you want to suck his dick, you can suck his dick, but, that's a personal choice, okay? That's not really how you make friends. I mean, yeah. I mean, you could do it to make friends and some money in the back of McDonald's. So I've heard. But, yeah, let's jump right into comedy now. Because I felt like that little introduction of just understanding, that we're all people and we all just have different backgrounds. So, let's get cracking, okay? So, with the first segment I kind of want to talk about, it dives into disabilities too, okay? If you couldn't tell from looking at me, I had teachers growing up. They thought I was special. They looked at me and they're like, wow, this kid has a yarmulke, but we should put a helmet on top of that yarmulke. Which didn't make me feel great because I was like, I'm standing right here even though I'm in the first grade. Like, I think I can tell when someone is shit-talking me. It was very clear. I was growing up dyslexic. They didn't really know what that was. And to make matters worse, my family is like multiple languages spoken in my house. So especially when it comes to Hebrew, English is left to right. Hebrew is right to left. So when you're dyslexic, that doesn't help for shit, okay? Do you know how hard it was to even write David? It took it next level, especially because also with Hebrew, there's different letters, components too, because it's like, my name is David in English, but then in Hebrew, it is David Ranan Elner. And I'm pretty sure you can't write that in English well. Because in English, I was like, to write it out, it's Daved. And they're like, no, you have an I. And I was like, what? And then I was still mixing up B's and D's left to right. And I was like, oh my God. So ultimately, the school did what every good American school does, is told my family, if you want him not to be held back, you're going to need to take your culture and put it somewhere else because he's not doing well in school. So, great job. All right. Because now my family, I still, speak some Hebrew, can read, write. But, I don't process as fast as my family who's just fluently saying things. But I could feel the energy. So when my mom is yelling my name in Hebrew, I think I know that means me. I'm coming, Mommy. Yeah, so that's what it comes down to. But it's okay. It didn't help that the hospital made it worse for me. Because when I was born, with my middle name, I told you it's Ranan, saying that in the simple way, they misspelled it from R-A-N-A-N to R-A-N-O-N. So I was Ranon, which didn't help because two things. One, my older brother, he was adorable. He would say, because of, especially with dyslexia, I sucked at public speaking too. So he was like, oh, what are you, ran on sentence? I can hear it in your voice when you're talking. I'm like, that's great. I'm glad my grammatical errors are coming through my voice. You make me feel like shit. Thank you. And, oh my God. And what I love, too, is how Ranan literally means melody in Hebrew. But instead, it's like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's just make this kid ran out like he's fucking roadkill on the highway. Phenomenal. I loved it. And I love how it also took my parents until middle school to fix that. They're like, you know what? Let's just leave it like that until middle school. No one's gonna know. No one's gonna know that his middle name literally sounds like roadkill. Yeah, it's terrific. They just made going to school way better for a kid. Am I right? But I also gotta dive into this. Everyone knows about, the basic Jewish holiday, the Sabbath. We call it the Shabbat. So, end of the week. And what blows my mind, because when it's like, it's like Friday sundown to Saturday sunset. Sunset to sundown. Gosh, you're distracting me, people, with your sexiness. And I've had someone say there, like, what are you saying? How can that be? Sunday's the last day of the week. And I was like, have you looked at a calendar? It's the first day of the week. And they're like, well, that's when our Sabbath is. And I'm just like, oh, shit. And I was like, I don't want to tell this person they're wrong. But, they're kind of wrong. They're like, well, my church says the Sabbath is Sunday. Now, I don't want to be that guy and be like, no. But I was like, sure, all right, you're right. I don't want to argue. Because the last Jewish guy that argued, we know how he, ended. Yeah, it kind of looked like me. It's kind of scary. But, yeah. So, I just let that slide. But another fun holiday is that, it is Passover. I call it Pesach. Okay? Pesach. I have to do it with the in your voice like you're ready to spit in my face. Okay? So, during the holiday, throughout the whole part, you drink tons of wine, okay? So, you're talking about the whole Exodus, how Moshe was, in Egypt, his upbringing, all the plagues getting out of it. So it's just funny because you're reenacting all this. You're not eating food until way later in the day, and you're drinking tons of wine. So when it's going into the plagues, at one point when it's talking into the wild animals, one of my oldest sister, she's blasted, okay? I've never seen her like this. She goes on the floor. She literally looked like one of the wild animals. And I mean, to be honest, this was before she did Weight Watchers, so I was like, yeah, kind of fitting the cow. And then at one point when she was just like knocked out, I'm like, yep, that's the part when the wild animals die of pestilence. Yeah, I see it now. And then my parents were like, what the hell are you saying, David? And I was like, I was like, what? I was like, you're mad at me? I was like, look at her. She's on the ground making an issue. And they're like, whatever. We don't expect much of her. And I was like, you know what? Fair point. Me? Come on. I'm amazing. I'm kidding. They would never say I'm amazing. You know how much it pissed them off. Oh, being the comedian. My God. But it's all right. Also, another break, everyone. Thank you so much for listening into this part. Don't forget, my name is David Allner. You can find me all over social medias. Dre_Hebrew. DREDAHEBREW. All right, everyone, signing out. You'll see me again later tonight.
That was hilarious, David Allner. We'll see more of your act coming up later. Next in our amazing lineup is Jessa. She's going to sing us a cover song of Adele's Don't You Remember. I know you will all love this very heartfelt song. I can't wait to hear it. So let's get right into this next act with Jessa.
Hi, my name is Jessa Furchess, and I'm going to be singing Don't You Remember by Adele. This song has a huge significant meaning in my life because my father left when I was 10 years old randomly one day. I don't know if he remembers us. Wish you did, but it's hard to know where you come from when half of you is missing. Luckily, I had my wonderful mother to raise my sister and I, and she always raised us with an open mind, to never cast judgment because of someone's race, religion, sexuality, or anything of that nature. My mother actually decided to look into Judaism when she was in high school, and that's when she decided to become Jewish. She really loved how it talks about caring about others and just always caring, helping others out first, kindness, show love. And she actually runs her own elderly care business, so she's always raised me to be very open-minded, and I'm so grateful for that. I myself am Christian. From what I do know, I am Scandinavian, and every Christmas, my mother and I, we have a Jewish Christmas tree. It's full of Jewish ornaments decorated with them, and it's gorgeous. I love the acceptance that I've always had in my family. So I hope you guys enjoy this.
When will I see you again? fickle heart in a bitterness, and a wandering eye and a heaviness in my head. Don't you remember? Don't you remember the reason you loved me before? Daddy, please remember us once more. When was the last time you thought of me? Or have you completely erased me from your memory? I often think about where I went wrong. The more I do, the less I know. But I know I have a fickle heart and a bitterness and a wandering eye and happiness in my head. But don't you remember? Daddy, remember the reason you loved me before. Daddy, please remember me once more. Give you the space so you can breathe. Kept my distance so you'll be free. And hold you to find the missing piece to bring you back to me. Don't you remember? Daddy, remember the reason you loved me before. Daddy, please remember us once more. When was the last time again?
That was astonishing, Jessa. That was so powerful and touching. You did such a great job. Next up is Elizabeth, who will be reading us a monologue titled Helena's Speech from William Shakespeare's A Midsummer's Night Dream. Let's dive right into this beautiful monologue with Elizabeth.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Kotite. I'm from New York City. My roots are Syrian, Italian, Irish, and British. I recently found out about the British part of my heritage. It's kind of an interesting story. My great grandmother married a British man who ended up getting disowned by his family. So we don't really know how much British there is, but I thought it would be a nice idea to honor that part of my heritage today. I'll be doing Helena's speech from A Midsummer Night's Dream. Oh, spite. Oh, hell. I see you all are bent and set against me for your merriment. If you were civil and knew courtesy, you would not do me thus much injury. Can you hate me? As I know you do, but you must join in souls to mock me too. If you were men, as men you are in show, you would not treat a gentle lady so. To vow and swear and super praise my parts when I know you hate me with y'all. And now both rivals to mock Helena? A trim exploit, a manly enterprise to conjure up tears in a poor maid's eyes. With your derision, none of noble sort would offend a virgin and extort a poor soul's patience, all to make you sport. I'm Elizabeth Cote. Thank you so much for coming and have a good night.
That was so powerful, Elizabeth. There was such passion in your act. Amazing. Coming up, we have Carmen. She will be singing the song Rise Up, a song about loving one another and rising up together through love and hope. You're going to love this next piece.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Carmen Gabriel. I'm from a largely African-American family, and I'm just so excited to be part of this project. Recently, I've gone on a journey to start looking into my family tree and discover like all the different things that make us up. And I think one of the main things I've learned on this journey is just how important and how precious it is to have the privilege of knowing, kind of where you came from and just finding out how many people had to persevere and love and survive and thrive so that you could be where you are today. And that's what my set is about. I wanted to bring acknowledgement and pay tribute to just the sheer amount of love and strength and determination that I associate with my culture and that I've associated with my family and my upbringing. So I hope you enjoy, and once again, thank you. You're broken down and tired of living life in the merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we're gonna walk it out and move mountains. We're gonna walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, high like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up, high like the waves. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. Silence isn't quiet, and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe. And I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll bring the world to its feet and move mountains. Bring it to its feet, move mountains. And I'll rise up, high like the day. I'll rise up, in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you. All we need is hope. If for that we have each other, if for that we have each other, yeah.
will rise 1,000 times again. Rise up, let the day rise up, in spite of the end. Rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you. Thank you.
What a marvelous performance, Carmen. We can't wait to hear more from you coming up. Our next act is Saskia, a wonderfully talented woman who will be performing a monologue from Stefan Adly Guirgis' play, The Last Days of Judas Iscariot, as well as a beautiful Italian poem. Introducing Saskia.
Hello, my name is Saskia Bauer. I am from Los Angeles, California, and my mother was a Dutch immigrant and my father was Italian and German. My mother actually was a survivor of Nazi-occupied Holland during World War II, and we had members of the family who were actually part of the Dutch resistance to the Third Reich. And so how this impacted me and informed my upbringing is that my mother was deeply respectful and had a deep reverence for other cultures and traditions. She was always reading, always learning. In my house, we celebrated Hanukkah, Christmas, and Sinterklaas. We celebrated Easter along with Passover and Chinese New Year along with the traditional American New Year. So for me, that really just opened up different perspectives and ideas that were maybe different from my own. My mom also loved indigenous folklore and stories, and I remember her reading stories to me about Native American cultures that were really, really cool, that I really enjoyed. I was also really close to my paternal grandmother, who was Italian American, my dad's mother. She lived across the street from us, and she really nurtured in me a love of the performing arts, a love of reading. We would go to the library together and pick out books together. And everyone in my family loved to read. We always had just books everywhere in the houses. And I also put on my first plays for my grandmother. I would perform plays for her in her backyard. And so from being with my grandmother and being in the family that I grew up in, I developed a real love for playwrights and their work. And one of my favorite playwrights is Stephen Adly Guirgis. And his writing is just breathtaking. It's impactful, it's beautiful. I love his take on spirituality, on society, and the monologue that I've chosen is from his play, The Last Days of Judas Iscariot. And it's really just a heartbreaking and beautiful ode from a mother to her lost son. And then I've also chosen a poem from the Canzoniere, which was written by the Italian poet Francesco Petrarca. The Canzoniere in English means the songbook, and it's really an incredible collection of over 300 poems. Francesco Petrarca was extremely prolific. He wrote all the time, and his poems are just really beautiful ideas about unrequited love, heartache, and religion, which was very much a part of his universe. I was introduced to his work in my early 20s and have loved it ever since. And I really hope you enjoy my pieces, and thank you so much for letting me share all this with you. No parent should have to bury a child. It is not in the natural order of things. I buried my son in a potter's field, in empty, acrid silence. There was no funeral. There were no mourners. I discovered his body alone. I begrudge God none of this. And though my heart keeps beating only to keep breaking, I do not question why. I remember the morning my son was born as if it was yesterday. I loved my son every day of his life, and I will love him ferociously long after I've stopped breathing. I am a simple woman. My voice is not important. The world tells me that God is in heaven and that my son sits in hell. And I tell the world the one true thing I know, that if my son sits in hell, there is no heaven. Because if my son sits in hell, there is no God! Per fare una leggiadra sua vendetta e punire in un din bin mille offese, celatamente amor l'arco riprese, come uom conoscer luogo e tempo aspetta. Era la mia virtute al cor ristretta, per far ivi e negli occhi suddifese, quando il colpo mortal la giudicese, ove su lei spuntarsi ogni saetta. Però, turbata nel primiero assalto, non ebbe tante né vigor né spazio che potesse al bisogno prender l'arme, ovvero al poggio faticoso ed alto, ritrarmi accortamente dallo strazio, dal quale oggi vorrebbe e non può aiutarmi. Thank you so much for coming this evening.
That was very touching, Saskia. Great performance. A heart-wrenching monologue and a magnificent sonnet. That was amazing. Up next, we have a short French film by the very talented Tracy. Let's get right into this wonderful film Tracy has created for us.
Hi, my name's Tracy Healy, and I am submitting my project called Le Jardin de l'Amour. It's a short film that I wrote and directed and filmed on a poem that I wrote in French. It's sort of based on the new wave genre of cinema, which I really, really love a lot. My personal cultural background is Irish, French, Norwegian, and German, but I have definitely resonated with the French aspect, and I spent a lot of time in Paris and France, and my daughter went to school there, and so it's something that's very close to my heart, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Le tendre jour d'être en le jardin de la mort. La papillon embrasse, languir au soleil. On dévoile la fluidette. J'écoute le chant de l'oiseau. Votre cœur, l'odeur sucre de la fleur. Votre bouche, votre peau, votre cheveu. Se mêler ensemble, nos cœurs tremble, emboîte le vent de la mort. Toujours, toujours, toujours. L'été fini et les fleurs sont mortes. Le papillon disparu avec les souvenirs des vues. Tes yeux brassés, les ombres ont grandi, les mystères retournés, en vent en miel. C'est envolé notre amour, pour toujours et à jamais, jamais, jamais.
That was so marvelous, Tracy. What an excellent film. It was very touching to watch. Thank you so much for sharing your beautiful film. Next up, we have more of David Elner's stand-up comedy. We know you'll enjoy Act 2 as much as the first. Introducing once again, David Elner.
Hello, you beautiful, amazing people. I'm back. Your boy, David Ranan Elnera. Or you can just call me David Elner. There you go. Less complicated. More fresh off the boat, Ellis Island. So, I put on glasses to look more Jewish because, they're like, we just want to make sure they know you're Jewish, so we want you to look very stereotypical like Mort Goldman. Terrific. My gosh, I love it. Don't worry, next time I'll make sure to rub my body in cream cheese. So yeah, let's dive into this. So, where I ended off, now I want to dive into, to excite you, beautiful people, is, the first time I went back to the Holy Land of Israel. So most of my dad's side is there. And, I was excited. I was like, all right, I get to see the rough and tough Israelis. And it was such a warm welcome I got when I got there. You know what happened? I got there, and they're like, hello, what is this? David, why are you so pale? We're looking at you. Are you sick? Are you dying? What is going on? I was like, God damn it. I was like, okay, like, I'm a light cinnamon, kind of. It's not my fault, okay? I live in New York. I then went to college in Connecticut. There's no sun like the Middle East. Like, yeah, whatever with your bullshit answer, whatever, fuck you. I'm just, okay, like, wow, such a warm welcome. It's unbelievable. And then it dives into, I got to piss him off more unintentionally. You know how you mentioned I have dyslexia? So, yeah, there was a point when it was 2 in the morning. I'm jet lagged. I'm in their kitchen. I'm trying to get water. And I'm like, and they're like, hey, David, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm responding in Hebrew. I'm like, yeah, אני רוצה, agua. And they're like, maze, like, what is agua? Like, and I was like, what? Like, I'm like responding in Hebrew, like, fucking agua. They're like, what are you saying? I was just like, are you autistic or something? Like, I was like, I know people call me special needs, but like, what's up with the situation? Like, what are you saying? And then it hit me. I was like, oh shit, I'm saying agua. That's Spanish for water. I'm like, slicha, sorry, excuse, I meant mayim, water. And they're just like, this fucking American kid. And you know what? I was like, he's right. I can't say shit. I literally was cursing him out. I was speaking Spanish too, and I was like, I guess I'm the puta now. But thank you, high school, for your taking away my culture and making me learn only a few words of Spanish. But it didn't stop there. So at one point, I'm at a restaurant with family, so I'm grabbing food for them, and there's a guy in front of me, while I'm holding, a tray of food. So I'm like, slicha. No, I didn't say slicha. That's what I should have said, which means excuse me, or, like what I said before, another thing, like apologies. And what I said was glida, which, mixed up in my mind, which means ice cream. So again, my fucking luck. I'm looking at a guy, I'm cursing at him. I'm like, bro, fucking ice cream. Like, get the ice cream the fuck away. He's like, what is going on? Are you okay? I'm like, ice cream. Ah! Like, and then all of a sudden it hit me. I was like, haha, slicha, American. And there's like, these fucking kids. And I'm just like, wow. I was like, honestly, no matter where I visit, I'm probably the reason why people hate Americans. So you should all be thankful I don't travel much. By choice, not because comedians don't make enough money. But yeah, so there you go. So I'm sorry in advance if Israelis look at you with anger. It's probably my fault. But it's alright. I moved past that. But there's also like a lot of misconceptions, about being Jewish when it comes to the Bible. It's some people are just like, well, in my part, they were talking about the Hebrews, but it was about Jesus. What's your take on that? And I'm just like, well, it's not exactly in my part, because like, how you say the Old Testament. So we just stick to volume 1. It's kind of like Transformers, it's like some people like the second movie more than the first one, and they're some people find them connected. But then, the more volumes you add, the more people are like, I don't know if I like this franchise as much. So that's kind of what it is with the Bible. You just keep adding more and more. And we're just like, what? We're the OG fans. We just like, the beginning and that's it. It's like, well, we respect anyone that likes the later volumes. It's just, it's not our cup of tea, So I feel like that's a good explanation for people. But then it's funny when it dives into the Bible because when I was in college freshman year, people were handing out, the New Testament. I remember someone just put that in my hand. I was like, oh, sir, like I respectfully declined. I wanted to be nice. I put it back. It's not like I was going to just leave it somewhere. Like, didn't want to be a butthole. And I come back to my dorm area freshman year. And I don't know if you've all seen this in Family Guy, but at one point you just hear, Bible fight! And people are literally chucking these New Testaments at each other. And I'm like, guys, like, don't most of you, like, follow this? And all of a sudden one guy chucks it at me. I quickly catch it. And to have fun, I'm like, it burns. And I put it down. And all of a sudden I hear, whoa, that stuff actually works on you guys? And I was like, gee, come on. You're going to be a future electrical engineer. And you believe that shit? So it burns you or not? And I'm like, God, fuck. No, it doesn't burn me. Oh, okay. And yeah, thank gosh for college, I guess. But yeah, thank you all so much again. This has been David Elner here doing comedy for you. You can find me all over online, social media, Dre_the_Hebrew, DREDAHEBREW. All right, I'll see you all later.
Hilarious, David. You had us laughing again from start to finish. Keep an eye out for David. He's an awesome stand-up comedian and a great performer. Thanks so much, David. Next in our lineup is Carmen with another beautiful song titled The Sweetest Days.
You and I in this moment, holding the night so close, hanging on, still unbroken. Well, outside the thunder rolls. Listen now. You can hear a heartbeat warm against life's bitter cold. These are the days, the sweetest days we'll know. Times that scare me will rattle the house like a wave. Both of us so unbending will battle the fears within. All the while life is rushing by us, holding now and don't let go. These are the days, the sweetest days we'll know. So whisper a dream here in the darkness, watching the stars as they go. And when even the memories have all faded away, these days go on and on. Listen now. You can hear a heartbeat. Hold me now and don't let go. These are the days, every day's the sweetest day we'll know. The sweetest days we'll know. Thank you.
Another amazing song, sung to us by Carmen. You can really feel the passion that Carmen puts into her singing. Very beautiful, Carmen. Up next, we have Astrid, who will be reading us an Irish poem by William Butler Yeats. Let's listen.
Hi, my name is Astrid Amnell, and my roots are Irish and Scottish. I chose to draw upon my Irish roots for this festival and read an Irish poem by William Butler Yeats, one of my personal favorites, as well as one of the most popular poets in Ireland. When my family left Ireland, it was between 1845 and 1851 because of the Great Famine. The Great Famine was a disaster that hit Ireland, causing the death of about 1 million people and the flight or emigration of up to 2.5 million more over the course of 6 years. It was in those years that my family emigrated to Nova Scotia, Canada, becoming shopkeepers, farmers, and fishermen. I chose this particular poem because it reminds me of my grandfather, who was a fisherman in Nova Scotia, Canada. Thank you. The Song of Wandering Angus by William Butler Yeats. I went out to the hazel wood because a fire was in my head, and cut and peeled a hazel wand, and hooked a berry to a thread. And when white moths were on the wing, and moth-like stars were flickering out, I dropped the berry in a stream, and caught a little silver trout. When I had laid it on the floor, I went to blow the fire aflame. But something rustled on the floor, and someone called me by my name. It had become a glimmering girl, with apple blossom in her hair, who called me by my name and ran, and faded through the brightening air. Though I am old with wandering, through hollow lands and hilly lands, I will find out where she has gone, and kiss her lips and take her hands, and walk among long dappled grass, and pluck till time and times are done, the silver apples of the moon, the golden apples of the sun. Thank you. I'm Astrid, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Great job, Astrid. That was a wonderful poem, and we loved the history of your Irish culture. Thanks so much for that piece. It was great.
Next up, we have David Orta, who will be singing a song in a music video he created. We can't wait for this one. Here we go.
Dreams that comfort me, your beautiful face and all the pain erased, all those hurtful sad tears from my eyes are suddenly dried when I see you in the sunshine. We're on the beach, laughing like spring. Big white clouds in the blue sky, beautiful just like your eyes, sparkling like the ocean as I'm calm with waves. Never forget such a beautiful day. We held hands and walked along the shore until the day we didn't see each other anymore. Erase
Amazing, beautiful, and very heartfelt, David. That was a great set.
Please give a big round of applause to all of the wonderfully talented people who performed for us tonight. We hope you all had a great time.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This event was made possible by the contributions of the Artistic Civic League United. Their mission is to create equitable futures for creatives and charitable people like you see working tonight. Please donate at www.happysummer2021.com/donate. Thank you and have a wonderful night.